Alrighty then. It is time to start the 200 Q&A subscriber special. Oh boy, this is going to be a long one because I got a lot of questions to answer. But I really hope you guys enjoy this because this is my little subscriber special. This is my reward for all of you for subscribing. And for that, I'm going to answer all your questions right now today. So I'm going to get it over, I'm going to get the intro over with because this is going to be a long video. So let's start the video. So the first question is done by Jotaro Uchiha, who asked, what is my favorite part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Personally, it's probably Stardust Crusaders at the moment. Though I've not seen 7 and 8 and 9 yet, I think it's part 3. But I've also really enjoyed part 4 and part 5 as well. Personally, those are my 3 favorite parts at the moment. The next question is done by Ice Poochy, who's also got 3 questions here. So question 1. Who is your favorite JoJo character of each part? For Phantom Blood, it's a mix between Jonathan and Dio, as I've always felt like they complemented each other perfectly fine. For Battle Tendency, it's probably Joseph, as I really enjoy his antics, and he was very comedic. For Stardust Crusaders, it's probably Kakyoin, as I enjoy a lot of his moments, and every time he's on screen, he's very entertaining. For part 4, I pick Jotaro, but if that's cheating, then I'll go with Kira. Now the next part is part 5, which would be Bruno. Part 6 would be Jotaro, but if that's cheating as well, then Jolene. Now, I've not seen part 7, 8, or 9 yet, so I can't really say who my favorites on those parts are yet. For their second question, they asked, which character do I believe deserved the most screen time during JoJo? Now, in my opinion, probably Kakyoin, but I don't want to come off as biased, so I'm going to change my answer to either Fugo or Josuke, as I feel like both characters were kind of underutilized. Fugo because I do feel like he could have played a bigger role during the story, and Josuke because he was the JoJo of his part and he really does nothing in the story. So personally I would have given him more to do as well. And last but not least, the last question of this is, who is your favorite JoJo villain? In my opinion, I like Yoshikage Kira the best. This is mainly due to the fact that he feels more realistic compared to most of the other villains. Where you have Dio's as flamboyant vampire, like Cars and the Pillarmen who are these Aztec Pillarmen gods, and like all that. Kira feels the most realistic compared to most JoJo villains, and I honestly like him the best. Diavolo's kind of one-noted, even though I thought he was alright. And Poochy's also kind of alright, but he's got his moments. So, next question comes from Edd Gould. Yes, that Edd Gould. So, the next question is, what is your favorite video I've made? Or what's my favorite video I've made? Personally, I don't have a favorite because I've liked them all because they all hold like a special place in my heart personally. Like the first video I ever made holds a special place in my heart because it's basically my first video, and now not only that, but it just turned a year. Like, it's actually just turned a year old like a few days ago, like a week or two ago. It just turned a year old, and I didn't even celebrate its 1-year anniversary on YouTube. Like, jeez, I'm cold. My crossover what ifs, I've always preferred those because they were kind of fun. Like my JoJo and Danganronpa, not JoJo and Danganronpa. Well, man, I could do that if you want, but JoJo and Death Note, or Death Note and Death Note and Danganronpa, all that's all pretty fun too. I like the crossover what ifs as well. I like my what ifs where I'm kind of doing something that's more unique and something that no one else really has thought of before. Like, oh, no one's really thought of this timeline idea before. I like those ideas as well. I like my own version of a popular what if take, but like how I would do it personally. But I'll normally do these if my idea is far more different than what most people's ideas for it is. I enjoy my requested what ifs because that kind of makes me feel more like I am actually cared about by you guys, because you guys are kind of giving me something to do by letting me do your little video ideas, and I like that too. I enjoy my what ifs that cause people to start thinking more and basically cause people to start becoming a lot more creative. Like where an entire community kind of goes together and like, okay, like this could happen or that could happen. Like, I like it when I have those kind of videos where people are like they're even still talking about it to this day, and like they're not go they're not going to other videos, like they're going to that video in particular because they like the lore to that one and like to build lore to it. I like those videos too. I also really enjoy my videos that got me super popular. Those videos are very good to me as well. And overall, those are the videos that probably hold a special place in my heart. All my videos technically do in their own way. I don't really have a least favorite video on my channel, and if I do, then probably like the mellow video. But that's kind of it. And his second question is, what is my favorite OC that I've made up? Personally, I think Tinmei slash Kakyoin-san is probably the most interesting because a lot of people always talk about the idea of Caesar having grandchildren, and Rosanna and Julius being that idea. Like, I mean, the names are original, but the characters aren't, because everyone talks about, like, oh, Caesar having a grandson being Jotaro's best friend, or Caesar having a granddaughter to end up with Jotaro, even though I have her end up with Kakyoin, it'd be more interesting. But no one really talks about the idea of Kakyoin having a child, so that's kind of what interests me more. I would like to explore more kind of JoJo what ifs like that, like maybe if Polnareff had a child or if Abdul had a child. If you guys want to see more of those, like maybe a Speedwagon child timeline, like those kind of ideas, I might explore them because they seem very fun. Kind of like what if the JoJo other family bloodlines extended, like not just the Zappellis or like not only just Kakyoin, but like other characters, like they have their bloodlines extended, etc. But those, I'd say I really enjoy Julius, Rosanna, and Tinmei. And I have other cool ideas for some other potential ideas, like maybe Caesar having an illegitimate son during part 5, like how Joseph did for part 4. Maybe Julius has a daughter of his own who gets thrown into part 6, or maybe a son of his own who gets thrown into part 6. I think there's a lot of interesting topics I can do with that. But yeah, that's kind of the overall conclusion I have with that one. Thanks to Ed for asking those questions. So the next question is done by Tangan1, whose first question is, what is your thoughts on Chainsaw Man? Now, I have not watched Chainsaw Man yet. I do plan to watch it, but from what I've seen, like small clips, it looks pretty cool. And I do plan to watch it when I get the chance to, once it's fully dubbed, which it might be. If it is, I will check it out. And if I like it enough, I may even read the manga, like how I did for JoJo Part 6. And I'm still going to read Part 7. I've already read the first few chapters, but yeah. I could start Chainsaw Man after this, and overall it looks pretty good off the bat. His next question is, what is my favorite Danganronpa trial and execution? Trial-wise, I think it's Danganronpa 2 Chapter 5. Call me basic, whatever, but like, I actually prefer the mystery to this one, because I've always liked the idea of Nagito's luck being a part of a trial. Basically, Nagito takes his own life, but he makes it to be that he didn't take his life, but the traitor did by poisoning him. And the way he does it is just so unique that it's just such a fun trial and so unique. So overall, I think it's my favorite on a storytelling basis. Favorite execution is probably Leon's. The 1,000 ball thing was just so brutal. And as a first execution for Danganronpa, it really grips you into the series. I also enjoy some of the other ones, but I think the Leon one's the one that sticks out to me the most. And that's probably my favorite execution. And the final question is, what are some anime and video games that you like that you never really get the chance to talk about? I like the WWE 2K series. Like, I like 2K14 a lot, and 19 especially. I like those games. 18 and 16 and 15 and 17 were pretty cool. Hot take, 15's actually alright. 20 and 20, like 22 and 23 were good. 20 was not that good. I also am a big fan of the Pokemon franchise, and I really enjoy the first 6 gens. 7 was alright, but I kind of lost interest through that. And I know a little bit about Gen 8, but not too much about it. And Gen 9, from what I've seen, looks alright. I kind of like how the starters look. The Sonic franchise is another video game franchise that I like as well, and I'm also a big fan of. So that's another series that I really enjoy as well. I think if we're talking about anime-wise, though, I do like the anime Charlotte because it's pretty interesting, and I may try to do some Charlotte What Ifs one day, but I haven't seen the show in a long time, so ultimately I'm probably not going to have the best memory, but I will rewatch it if I ever get the chance to. I also enjoy The Promised Neverland, even though I'm not a huge fan of Season 2. I do plan to maybe do What Ifs on this one too, because I do enjoy the Promised Neverland series, because it was quite unique. I kind of liked the concept of it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I also enjoy Dragon Ball Z, which is another series I kind of enjoy as well, which is, I mean, I don't really know if I'll ever do Dragon Ball Z What Ifs. This is mainly due to the fact that there's already people doing What Ifs on Dragon Ball, so, and, like, I don't really think I can think of something that's interesting enough. But if I can think of an interesting Dragon Ball What If that no one really talks about, I will for sure cover that. And the last kind of anime I enjoy is Your Lie in April, which I do plan to do a review on that one. So when I get the chance, my next review is probably going to be Your Lie in April, maybe Charlotte, one of those two. I might do a community vote for which ones you would rather see. And overall, that's all of Tangen's questions, so thank you for asking those questions, Tangen. Next question is done by Noob Saibot. His first question is, what is your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat series? Now, I think the Mortal Kombat series is pretty good. Also, to answer his other question of the thoughts on his character, I don't know, because I'm only really familiar with the old Mortal Kombat games. And I also kind of find the story of it interesting, because if it wasn't for Mortal Kombat, we wouldn't have the rated E for teen, rated T for teen, because, like, if it wasn't for that stuff, because there would be no parental ratings for it, because the whole thing was just like such a gore fest, and that's kind of what parents didn't want their kids to do, so, like, it was kind of, it's an interesting story, and I've played the first few games before, and I think they're actually pretty entertaining. I'm not a huge super fan of the series, and I don't hate the series by any means. I'm just, it's there, and I'll occasionally check it out, I guess. Second question, what is your favorite color? And this is a weird one, because I think it's light blue. I don't know why, it's just the coloring to me just looks so, I don't know what it is about it. I've just always liked the color light blue. It's just, it always looked pleasant to my eyes. So I think that's my favorite color. And the last question, what's your favorite video game? Oh boy. There's a lot of these. There's a lot of video games that I really enjoy that I would consider my favorite. Some of the series of video games I enjoy was Sonic Adventures 1, and I also enjoy Sonic Adventures 2. I enjoyed the first two Danganronpa killing games like Trigger Happy Havoc and Goodbye Despair. Personally not a huge fan of V3. And Ultra Despair Girls was also alright, but not a favorite of all time kind of game. You obviously gotta include some Mario in there, so Double Dash is a top tier Mario Kart game. I think my favorite Mario Adventure thing is probably Galaxy 1 and 2. I kind of like the Mario Galaxy series because it's just a lot more entertaining to me. Same with Double Dash, and it's kind of controversial to probably say that, but whatever. I can say whatever I want here on this channel, except for offensive stuff that gets me cancelled. I also enjoy the Pokemon games because they're very entertaining too. Some of my favorites is kind of hard. I'd say I like the first 6 gens because they're pretty fun to play, and I'll occasionally replay them whenever I get the chance to. Minecraft's another game that I would also consider up there as one of my favorites, so yeah, there's that. And ultimately, it's a hard choice, but those are some games I could say are some of my favorite video games. And ultimately, that's all your questions. Thanks, Noob, for asking all those questions. So the next question is done by E69.
Nice.
And his question is, what is your thoughts on JoJo Part 1? Ultimately, Phantom Blood, it's probably one of my least favorite parts, behind Part 2. but I do enjoy this part. I'm going to address my criticisms on it later for a later question, but I'll save some of my positives. I enjoy a lot of the characters. Like stated earlier, I liked Jonathan and Dio as basically opposites of each other. I enjoy some of the other characters. I enjoy Poco and Speedwagon's character growth. I kind of enjoy part 1 for some of its character growth, and I enjoy a lot of the fights. And I will address my criticisms when I get to another comment, but ultimately, those are all the things I kind of want to say about part 1, and it's a good part. So thanks E69.
Nice.
For that one. Next question is done by Jouta Kujo, who asked, if Jouta had a different backstory, would you like him more? Now I want to state this. I never said I hated Jouta or disliked him. I don't know where you're getting the idea from. I've never stated it in my video. I've never really said my thoughts on Jota's character. Well, I mean, until now. Ultimately, I find the idea humorous of Kakyoin and Jotaro having a baby, and Kakyoin having to lay an egg, but it's kind of a weird story that I'm honestly not really, like, to be fair, I don't think Johto would need to be canon. Like, he's not a necessity to me. Like, if he's necessary for the fans, I can understand why. But to me, I don't really think it'd be necessary unless it's like a little bit of like fan service. Or Rocky's like, hey, look, there's this guy from that one doujin I made. I mean, not I made, but one of these girls who are fans of my JoJo series made. And he's not going to be Kakyoin's child. Unless you want to go the route of Jolene and Tinmay having Jota, which is probably an interesting case scenario if you want to go with that. Personally, I'd probably just stick with... I don't know. I don't really think there's much reason for Jota to exist. I don't hate him or anything. I kind of find the idea funny. I would have liked to have seen a sequel to what he would have done in Diamond is Unbreakable, because I did kind of feel like the ending to that doujin was very abrupt. But minus from that, I do kind of... I don't hate him, but he's just there. Next question. Who is your favorite actor or actress? Mine, without a doubt, is Jim Carrey. The dude is super charismatic and probably one of the most... the most just kind of crazy dude. He's able to play off any role. Some of my favorite movies include The Mask, The Grinch, Ace Ventura, Bruce Almighty. A lot of those movies, like Dumb and Dumber, those are some entertaining movies that I would recommend you to go out of your way to watch. And the third question, who is your favorite band? Like the video game one? This one's a tough one. Some of my favorite bands, some examples of bands I enjoy are Green Day. I also like Blink-182 before Tom left, but then he came back, so it's good again. I enjoy Queen as well. Bad Religion's another great band. No Use for Name's also really good. Rest in peace, Tony. But yeah, those are some bands I really enjoy. And overall, those are some of my favorite bands at the moment. So thank you, Jota, for asking that one. For all those 3 questions, by the way. Next question is done by Straizo, or Straits for all the manga fans. First question, what is your favorite food and or snack? Food-wise, I'm a big shrimp fan. I like shrimp realistically any way styling. Like, I can take shrimp that's like cooked. I can take shrimp that's deep fried. I don't really care. I'll eat shrimp any way, shape, or form. No complaints from me. And snack-wise, I like a lot of snacks. I like candy bars. Reese's is one I like. I also like Snickers, Hershey's. I don't really have a favorite candy bar. I can take really either or. And chips. My favorite type of chips are Funyuns. It's very controversial, but like Mario Galaxy, I can kind of get away with it because you guys don't know who I am, so I can't get canceled. But then again, you guys probably could get anonymous on me, so like, it's best for me not to say nothing that would get me canceled. Yeah. Overall, that's probably my favorite chips. That's Funyuns. And that's my favorite snack and food. Next question is, what is your favorite movie? There is a lot of movies I could go by. Some of my favorites include the first three Toy Story movies. Fourth one's not that bad, but it's not that good. It's fine. It's like, it's in the middle of the road. Back to the Future trilogy is another movie series that I really enjoy. You also need to add a controversial movie to movies that you really enjoy, and Click's a movie that I really like. The first Scream movie was really good, even though I'm not really a huge fan of the later movies, which is kind of the thing with sequels, where most of them kind of fail after the first movie. Incredibles 1 is really entertaining and one of my favorite movies, and the sequel's not that bad, but it's whatever. The Mask is another movie that I really enjoy. So I guess we got three in a row where the originals outdo the sequel. But in the case, I think no one wants to talk about Son of the Mask, even though I've never seen Son of the Mask before. Happy Gilmore's a really good movie. Same with Billy Madison. And it's weird because a lot of people don't really like Adam Sandler. They're like, oh, Sandler's stupid. Oh, all of his jokes are repetitive. Oh, whatever. Honestly, I can get that, but I like his movies from like the 90s and 2000s. They were really good. His later movies, yeah, I would say they're not that good, to be honest. I'd say everything from like the Christmas movie he made, I forgot the name of, is when it started getting hit or miss. And then when he made like Grown Ups 1 or something, or like Jack and Jill, that's when all of his movies started to suck, and you really never made that many good movies. And at best, he made like a meh movie. And that's kind of Sandler's career now. And Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is another classic that I really enjoy. There's a lot of movies that I can consider my favorite, but it's kind of hard to say. So, thank you, Straizo, or whatever the fans want to call him. So, yeah, thank you for your comments. Next question is done by Vanilla Ice, whose first question is, if the universe did not reset, who would you pick as the next JoJo? Now, I did technically already address this in my last video, so I'll just keep it short and brief and just say Shizuku would make the most interesting due to her being an adoptive character, so it can make for a fun part. And the next question is, what is an underrated movie that I like? Click is one, but I don't want, but like the Kakyoin thing for like favorite characters who deserve more screen time from Ice Poochy's comment. I don't want to be like that, so I'm gonna pick a different movie, and that's probably Cars 1 for me, that I would consider the most underrated. But yeah, like, I don't really think Cars 1 is as bad as most people say it is, and it's still an entertaining movie for me. So, thank you, Vanilla Ice, for asking your questions. The next question is from Dyer, who also has three questions. So, question one, what is your favorite time of the year, aka the winter, spring, summer, fall stuff? Personally, I think it's spring because it's not when the weather's the hottest, but it's not the coldest, so it's basically enjoyable for me. So I always kind of prefer spring the most. Second, what is your favorite holiday? Probably Christmas. I kind of like Christmas the most because it's just more of the time where I get to relax with everyone else without everyone just being super strict, etc. But I prefer Christmas the best. And also, it's the best time to produce the greatest Christmas mixtape. Not your typical jingle bells and stuff, but your typical parody songs on those kind of music. Or music from, like, comedians who make Christmas songs that say, oh, we're gonna make the generic Christmas song, and it's just the most vulgar thing ever. Mostly, I'll listen to that kind of stuff because it's funny. And the last question is, what is your favorite meme? Now, this is going to show my age, but I think the Harlem Shake is probably my favorite meme. Because I kind of grew up during that time when that meme was kind of popular when I was a young kid. So I've always kind of had a very guilty pleasure for that kind of meme. Because I like the idea of everyone just like standing in a room together. But then the music just goes crazy and everyone starts dancing. So I think that's my favorite meme. And some other memes I also enjoy is probably like the to be continued meme from JoJo, where it's like, oh, you occasionally get like a cool to be continued, and then you have this other to be continued with the most out of context scene of all times. But yeah, those are my favorite memes, and thanks to Dyer for asking those questions. Next question is by the Doge Family, who has two questions. So first question, why do you call yourself the worst channel? I think someone's already asked that in the comments before, but if you're not familiar, I always really mean it in a jokey kind of way, like, oh, I'm the worst channel, blah, blah, blah. Even though, if I'm being honest, I feel like there are even worse people on YouTube, like those stupid family vloggers, or you have other guys who are complete and utter nuisances on the YouTube platform, such as Logan Paul, who's basically, and now he's in the WWE, so I guess that's a problem on my behalf. I guess I gotta have to deal with Logan, whether it's on the YouTube side of things or on the sports side of things. There's other YouTubers. I think there are YouTubers who are worse than me. I don't think I am the worst channel, and I'm not gonna change my name. I just only do it as a joke. And the second question is, what is your favorite YouTube channel? Personally, my favorites at the moment are guys like Wang or Blame It on George / Blame It on Jorge, depending on what you want to call them. But I really like Lost Media content, so guys like them plus L Supersonic Q. I kind of enjoy those kind of guys who use more or less Lost Media. That's kind of an interesting thing to me. So I guess if I were to ever give up on anime videos and wrestling with what if stuff, then you'll for sure see me in the dirt and the Lost Media kind of stuff. Searching for lost media, maybe. Maybe that's what my next future endeavors can be on YouTube. And while we're on this whole YouTube stuff, Lackytoot asks, will I ever make YouTube a potential job? This is weird because I'm not 100% sure yet, but I do want to try some stuff on YouTube. I feel like one day I might go the route of commissioned videos or stuff like that. And no, requests, they're going to still be there. But I'm probably going to do something different. Like, for example, you have your typical request video where it's like, oh, you'll take request, but if you commission for a video, like, if you pay to see a video come out, then I'll make sure that video comes out ASAP. Because I've seen YouTubers do that before, and I feel like it would be an interesting career point, but I don't want to do it now, especially with how low my subscribers are. If I were to make it to like 1,000 or 2,000, then maybe I'll open up a Cash App or Patreon, and maybe I can try something like that. But I feel like if I were to do Patreon, it'd probably just be like, kind of, honestly, I need to think of something that would be included for a Patreon. I mean, there'd be stuff like, oh, here are some shout-outs, thank you to this person and that person, the highest money supporters. But, yeah. But that's one thing I'm thinking about doing one day. But ultimately, I would like to make YouTube a potential career path. Like, if YouTube's able to succeed before I get done with high school, yeah, I'm still in high school, and before I even get a chance to go to college, then I would like to start YouTube as a potential kind of platform for me to go onto. But if YouTube fails, like if my channel gets terminated because of something I do, whether it's something stupid or sketchy, or something like that, then I feel like for a fact I'm probably just, YouTube's going to be a big failure if that's the case. But I do have confidence that YouTube's going to work. Thanks for your question. Next question is done by the Sun, whose first question is, what is your thoughts on the Roblox camping game? I am not familiar with it, never heard of it. Sorry. But I am familiar with Roblox, though. If you're wondering what my favorite Roblox game is, Project Pokemon. That's probably my favorite one. The moment they removed Project Pokemon, honestly, they still had Brick Bronze for a bit, but then, like, after that, I just slowly left the Roblox community after that. I lost interest at that moment, the moment they got rid of all the Pokemon stuff. Roblox Pokemon was fun, but yeah. And I'll give credit, because I'm glad those creators were there. They were able to create some cool stuff, so yeah. That's, I guess, my take on Roblox, because I couldn't answer the first question, so I just decided to answer my thoughts on Roblox instead. So, yeah. Second question. What is your favorite movie genre? Eh, this is a hard one because I honestly could realistically watch any real movie. I don't really have a specific genre I want to go to. I don't really like to go to that one certain genre. I always kind of mix it around. I could watch one genre one day and then another genre another week. I can watch a scary movie. I can watch a funny movie. I can watch a romantic movie. I can kind of watch them all, to be honest, without being bored. I can kind of watch any movie. I've seen some awful movies there before, I've but there's like a lot of good movie genres, so I can't really say what is a favorite of mine. And the last question, what are some of your favorite TV shows? Uh, I think if you're wondering what it would be as a kid, I would say my favorite as a kid was probably like Drake and Josh. Some shows I currently watch nowadays are like The Impractical Jokers, The Carbonara Effect, Adam Ruins Everything. Those are currently the shows I currently like to watch nowadays because I kind of find more enjoyment from them. So I guess you know what channels I'm normally on when I'm on cable, I guess. Even though I don't have cable anymore. But yeah, thanks for the comment, the sun. Next question is done by Mr. Persona Fan 55, or maybe you older fans may recognize him as Dwayne Asher, who has two questions. His first question is, if I had a superpower, what would it be? Personally, I feel like time stop would be my biggest one because ever since watching like even before JoJo, I've always liked the concept of stopping time. Like I've always wanted to see more time stop based things, and when JoJo had, I was like, oh heck yeah, I like time stop. I like it even more now. And yeah, that's like one power. Another power is like whatever that one dude from like My Hero Academia was like the mummy dude with the crazy purple hair. Like his brainwashing power. I haven't seen that show in a while, but like that power is like super 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 dope and I would probably take that. And those are my favorite kind of powers that I'd probably take. And the second question, what are some complaints you have about JoJo? Ooh, now we're taking a tough one. Because, like, earlier, a lot of people are like, here, like, oh, what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite that? But now we're getting to the what's your least favorite kind of thing. God, I wish I had a soundproof room. Uh, I guess I gotta talk about the negatives. We'll start off with I'm gonna go from each part, by the way, from parts 1 through 6. And I've already said my positives with what E69
Nice.
asked earlier. So I guess I gotta go to the negatives. My negatives with part 1, Will was kind of not that good of a character and was kind of an awful mentor figure. Like, he was only there for, like, 4 episodes, 3 episodes, I think. That's, like, a joke. He wasn't even there that long. Some other complaints I have with part 1, personally, I would have had it a little bit longer, and I probably would have fleshed out the characters a lot more in the story. I think those are my biggest complaints. And I probably would have had Will live at least a little bit longer before dying. But minus from that, that's kind of my only complaints for 1. Part 2, I have a lot of complaints, but I'm saving that up for a video. Part 3 is the one I have the least amount of complaints on. I only have, like, real 2 complaints. Complaint 1, I don't really like that many of the villains, and I either would have rewrote them to make them at least have a little more personality traits, or I would have just removed them as a whole. And another kind of complaint is I do kind of feel like the surviving cast could have been altered. Like, I kind of think Polnareff and Kakyoin I would switch. I'd probably have Kakyoin live and Polnareff die. Avdol is a character I'd probably have die in the Whole Horse battle. And I'd probably have Whole Horse join the Crusaders and then die against Vanilla Ice in his place. And I maybe wouldn't bring Joseph back, but that's a very iffy question. Iggy's death stays the same, and I'd also have Jotaro survive still. Part 4, I'd probably kill off more characters, like Rohan and Okuyasu can die in the final fight. I'd also probably introduce Shingeki a little earlier on, and at least have him play a role in the Rohan and Akira fight, so you could at least feel a little more attached to him before he died. So you could have some more battles to him before he actually died. Or have his death have his death saved up to later on and have someone else die in his place, like Okuyasu or Yukiko or something. Another complaint is I also would have given Josuke more screen time and probably given some other. I would have probably not given Koichi. I also would have not really rushed Koichi's Echoes act as much as it happened. Like, I probably would have still given him. Like, from Egg to Act 1, I was okay with that, but I think the Act 2 thing was kind of rushed. So I would have probably rearranged some of the fights. Like, if I were to probably rearrange the fights in some way, I probably would go with this. I'd have the first few arcs go the same, but then have Shingeki's arc happen after Hazamada, then switch around Tonio and Yukiko's arc, and then push Yukiko to after Akira and the Invisible Baby. So you don't really feel the echoes from Act 1 to 2 is rushed, and from 2 to 3 is rushed, because Koichi and Echoes Act 2 don't really play that big of a role in the later parts. For Part 5, my real main complaint is that I feel like Misa should have died instead of Narancia. Other complaints I really have for Part 5, I feel like I enjoyed the first half a lot more, like villain-wise. I probably would have given Risotto more characteristics and probably had him appear more in the story. I also would have made Fugo come along with the team, or I would have kept the traitor subplot. One of those two. And those are kind of my only real complaints. Maybe flesh Giorno and Diavolo out more, but mine's from that. Those are my complaints. And for 6, I do plan to talk about my complaints with the ending on a separate video. But I'll just talk about my other 6 complaints. I wasn't a huge fan of Hermes or Anasui. I don't really like any of the side characters like Hermes and Anasui. Weather Report's meh. I have the same problems with him like with Risotto, where I feel like had he been there more for the story, I probably would have liked him a little more. Emporio kind of feels like a Dollar Tree Hayato in some ways. Jolene and Foo Fighters are the only ones I like. Emporio kind of feels like a Dollar Tree Hayato, but he's not that bad. He's alright. I can technically deal with him. And some other complaints, a lot of the side villains were kind of boring. There were a few I liked, like the Highway to Hell guy. I also liked Gwes, and then I also liked the what was that one guy? That one stand, Yo-Yo Ma. I liked that one. I liked some of the side villains, but like a majority of them sucked. I mean, Raquel, that was another one I liked, but mine is from those very few, and maybe if I can think of some other ones. A lot of the side stands for 6 were kind of not really that interesting. I feel like a lot of the side characters in 6 were just very uninteresting, where they had a lot of good main characters. They had a few good side characters, and Part 5 is kind of the opposite, where the two main character, like the main protagonist and antagonist, weren't that good, but the side characters made up for it. But that's my complaints with those parts. So thanks for the question, Dwayne. Hey, I want to issue an apology first. Sorry to Music is Food for the Soul, because I say your name is Music is Good for the Soul. I just wanted to issue an apology because I screwed that up. But yeah, mine's from that. Here's your answer. Next question is done by Music is Good for the Soul, whose question is, if Jotaro... No, wait. Sorry. But if Poochy had removed Hidio's disc from... Oh, crap, I'm screwing this up. If Jotaro and Hidio's disc were both removed by Poochy, and Poochy put Hidio's The World in Jotaro, what would happen? Wasn't expecting a question like this in a video like this, but I guess I can explain my take on it here. I'll just explain my take on it right now. So had Poochy somehow got the Hideo The World disc and injected in Jotaro, if it was like Part 3 Jotaro, I do feel like he would be able to control it since he was able to defeat that version of Dio. Part 4 is kinda hard. Probably not, but I think there's a chance. But by Part 6, he probably wouldn't, and especially Jotaro after the coma. that version of Jotaro would for sure not be able to control it, but yeah, that's my take on the question. Odd question, wasn't expecting in a video like that, but you can ask whatever question you want. I won't complain. Thanks for your question. Music is good for the soul. Next question is done by someone you longtime fans might also recognize, Bully Maguire. I later found out it was Maguire and not Mugawa. So and like Maguire from like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the actor. So I feel like a complete and utter moron for this, for screwing up his name, because I actually do watch the Spider-Man movies. But first question: what's your thoughts on the Bully Maguire meme? Not too familiar with it. I looked some pictures up. It looks alright. Sorry, that was kind of a very cheap answer. Second question: what is your favorite animal? Penguins or cats? Cause I've always felt like they were super cute. I think it might be cats, cause I have 2 cats at my house. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with cats, cause I have 2 cats. And the last question: what is your favorite stand? Well, like favorite music and favorite movies and video games, I can't really say what it is. I feel like there's a lot of stands I could pick as my favorites. Some of my favorites include Silver Chariot, Sticky Fingers, Purple Haze, Magician's Red, Cream, White Snake, Weather Report, Diver Down, even though I'm not a huge fan of Anasui, King Crimson, Killer Queen. Like, there's a lot of stands I could realistically say here, but there's not really a consistent answer. So it's a tough question, but those are some of my favorite stands at the moment. There are a lot more, obviously, but those are the ones that come to my mind first. But yeah, thanks for the question, and I enjoyed that answer for the question. Now, the last question is done by Morbius. First question: what are your hobbies? A lot of hobbies. I like playing video games, thinking of video ideas, movies, music. I have a lot of hobbies. I really can't name them all, but I also like to run around. I like to play around, just do some random stuff. I like to kind of talk to people. I like to go in my comments, talk to everyone there, try to welcome everyone there. I have a lot of hobbies, and kind of hard for me to multitask them, but I try my best every single day. But yeah, that's kind of my answer for the first question. At this point, I'm not gonna answer the final few questions the best, because at this point I'm just too tired and I'm just ready to sleep. But I'm gonna brainstorm. I'm just gonna storm through it. I have a feeling this video could be up by Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm storming myself through it. I'm kind of trying my best to run through it all, because I want to try to get it out during Tuesday or Wednesday. Question 2: do you have any pets? Yes, I do have some pets. I actually mentioned that I have 2 cats earlier, and I have a dog, so that's it. And they are very cute. I'm not going to show you any pictures, but they are severely cute. And the last question: if would you star in a movie, and if so, what movie would you like to be in? Personally, I feel like if I were to be in a movie, I'd rather be an extra than a star, or like a side character. I just don't know if I have that charisma to be a good enough actor to be the main lead. I would like to voice act, but if I were to voice act, I would like to probably voice act some kind of anime character. Probably someone like Wakasa from Tokyo Revengers, maybe, or maybe Kakucho, because their voice actors have not been revealed yet. But, yeah, those are some characters that I would like to voice act. If I ever want to get to voice acting, which I might debatably, but I'm probably not. It'd be cool, but I don't know. Some other things. If I were to ever go into a movie, I don't know if I would like to play the starring role. I'd play as a background character though, for sure, or maybe like a side character. But I don't think I'd want to play the main lead of a movie. I don't see myself being an actor. Uh, ultimately, I don't know if I would ever be in a movie, but I feel like it'd be a really nice experience, and overall could be a great learning experience. But yeah, that's the answer of that question. Sorry if these last three questions were so like very lazily answered. It's just I just want to go to sleep. I'm sorry. I'm sounding like a real butthole here. Thanks for everyone for answering. I've basically killed myself here by doing this. And no, don't blame yourself, because I wanted to do this, and I feel like I would probably do more Q&As. But I think that'll be like my 500 subscriber special. That'll be the next Q&A. Maybe we can get one for like, I don't know what I'll do for 300 or 400 subs. I don't know if I'll do something special for 300 or 400. We'll see in the future. Thanks for watching. I'm getting very sleepy and I really need to sleep right now. Thank you to everyone who's left a comment. If I didn't give that good of an answer, I apologize. I also found I butchered some stuff, like the final 3 questions especially were butchered, but I'm trying to get this one done so I can get the Q&A over with. But yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video, because this took me a while to make, but it was fun to read your comments during it, and glad that you guys were kind of wanting me to take your time. Especially one of the comments, Edd Gould, I think you were the one who left the comment to take my time. Thank you for leaving that comment, like, for everyone being very patient about the Q&A. It'll be out by Tuesday or Wednesday, hopefully. I have no idea when it's going to be out. I'm recording this during Monday, but however, I've actually recorded some of my but I actually recorded it in parts. Like, for example, I recorded the first part, like the first 3 answers Friday, and I recorded the other 4 then like Sunday, I think, or is it Saturday, and then I recorded these last few like tonight. So I wanted to power through these final few and get them done, and I guess the video is all done. So in other words, I have it all saved up for the future. I really should end it now, because at this point I've made a 50-minute video, or I could keep monologuing and get this video to an hour, but I don't think people would be interested to watch an over hour-long video. But I'm probably gonna timestamps for it, so I can show all your answers. Because if you want to skip to your specific question, I don't want you to wait through a super long, ridiculous video just to see that the fact that you end up being one of the last questions, and then you have to just go through all these boring questions of me just randomly speaking about something. So I'm gonna put timestamps in it so it doesn't get boring for you guys. And that's it for the video. Thank you for getting me to 200 subscribers. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to see that you guys were giving me all these nice answers. I've enjoyed answering all these questions. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys were entertained with this video. Let's see if we can get those final 300. But while I'm making the video, I was around 205, so I've gained an extra 5 subs while this video is being made. I could gain an extra 1 or 2 subs before the video is posted. So at this point, I only have 295 left. If you know 295, if you can get to 200, if like you know 295 people, send them this channel, please. Let's try to get this to 500 by the end of the year. Let's try to get this to 500 subs before 2024, because I would really love that, please. Thanks for watching this video, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Good night, because I'm gonna go to sleep now.